What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Tech in Shanghai podcast. This week on the show, we have Bunny Yan, CEO and co-founder of the Squirrelz. Bunny is a dear friend of mine and a recent graduate of the Chinaccelerator program here in Shanghai. And I thought it would be a great time to have her on the show to talk to us about what it's like after graduating from an accelerator program. Of course, accelerator programs are ubiquitous around the world today, and there's a lot of people participating in them. And they're great to accelerate your business, of course, and meet mentors, potential team members, potential investors. But what happens when it's all over? And this is the question that Bunny's encountering right now. They've recently secured new office space, growing the team rapidly. So I thought it would be a great chance to have her come on and shed some light and give her perspective on what it's like and what life is like post-accelerator program. Bunny's always a blast to talk to, so it was a really fun conversation. So I really hope you enjoy it. If you do, please feel free to rate us on iTunes. Give us your review. It really helps us out a lot. And other than that, enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Tech in Shanghai podcast, the Pearl of the Orient. Shanghai is the city of the future. All systems go, full steam ahead. It never stops. Technology, innovation, ambition. It's everywhere. Join us as we explore this new world and talk to the people making it happen. The Tech in Shanghai podcast. The future is now.
So, here we are. Bunny, thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the Fiji water.
Yeah, sponsor of the show.
Big budget.
So just to those listening, if you hear a bit of wind or some car horns or anything like that, that's because we are outside on the enormous and amazing patio of the new Squirrelz office space. So, Bunny, you guys had, what was it, 3 weeks ago now you moved into here?
Yeah, just 3 weeks.
And you had a little soiree and some funky music and a nice gathering up here.
Already 2, actually.
Oh,
we had another
thank you for the invite.
people can code.
Uh-huh.
It's their party.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's not mine.
Yeah.
So after that round, we kind of figured out the patio can fit like 100, 120, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, like without being crowded.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know Shanghai that well, and even for those that do, I think I want to just say how amazing this office is and how amazing this location is, because there is, I mean, these days in Shanghai, getting office space, getting good space at a good price is a really, really difficult task, right? And here we are, we're right in the middle of Shanghai. We're about a block away from Jing'an Temple, right? Maybe not even. And we're on the 6th floor, right along a main road with a beautiful office, high ceilings, enough for about 20, 25 people in there?
Well, now we have 12 now.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll grow to like 15, 16 max for this year. I kind of want to keep like 12, 13 right now.
But the office its capacity is what?
I guess, I can fit 20 something.
Yeah.
But I don't want to pass that because then it start getting crowded.
Sure.
Well, it's different with the Squirrelz because like since we moved from a physical shop location to now a showroom office, and now we realize we really don't have that much room for showroom.
Mm-hmm.
So it become more of like a display area. But now we're shifting to mainly online, so it's not that
as important.
Yeah. But we do have a lot of loyal customers that's like asking to come, and a couple of them already made their way here. Even though we really didn't make it really clear like how to get up here, because now it's an office space, right? So you kind of have to go to the back, take the elevator, right?
Yeah.
And quite touched. A couple of them like tracked this place down just to come here.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit harder to shop now because everything's like kind of now it's like more in the storage mode, right? Because like everything sells online.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's quite cool. So we literally had to put on the website going like by appointment only now. So, yeah.
Well, that's cool. Kind of a more high touch service for your long-standing customers. But anyway, so the office is great. This patio out here is amazing.
Thank you.
I still look around. I'm like, you know what, we're gonna have to do an event up here at some point. So we'll talk to you about that later. But why don't
we already got people calling this place?
I bet there's a lineup.
The legendary patio already.
But why don't we start, because of course not everybody listening is familiar with the Squirrelz or your story.
Yeah.
So why don't we get things kicked off with you telling us a bit about the Squirrelz story and where you guys are at right now.
Okay. So the Squirrel is upcycle design platform, pretty much. So what we do is we sell products that are upcycle, recycle, or for a good cause. So recycle, everybody know what it is, right? So it's pretty much you grab a glass bottle, you break it down to recycled glass. Now upcycle is giving the item value without breaking it down. So I'm turning that glass bottle, that beer bottle, into lights or into vase or into something else that with more value without have to melt it down into a lesser quality material. So how does that start about is like 2 years ago, well, my background is fashion design. So 2 years ago, I was literally trying to find factories to make my clothing line. So when searching through one of the factories, we noticed there's a lot of like uniform, doctor's uniform. In the States, we call it scrubs, right? But I just realized like a lot of European countries don't call it scrubs. So doctor's uniform like in the corner, and brand new, everything packed. So, you assume that it's getting shipped out. So I'm like, oh, those are very nice bright color scrubs. So they say, it's like, oh yeah, we're waiting to sell it to the garbage collector. So I'm like, what? That's like almost 1,000 pieces going. So what the factory owner ended up telling us is that the whole entire batch, when they print out like 100,000 pieces of order, those are leftovers because like they were dyed the wrong color, the size was not matching. So the garment itself has no defect. It's just that on other details, it's not to client specs, right? Mm-hmm. So we didn't understand. So like, how come you don't sell it? Put in the shop. I'm pretty sure it's much better than what garbage collector can offer you. Is pretty much by weight, like 10 kwai on a kilo or something really ridiculous. So what she said is like, well, then you got to find a salesperson. Then it's another different business. Then you got to take pictures. Then you got to put it somewhere, right? So yeah, it's true. When you're not in that line of work, right, it's very easy for you to like, why don't you do this? Mm-hmm. But if your main, business is manufacturing, right? So this little bit of loss, it's a loss, right? But it'll actually cause you a lot more time to do something about it. Mm-hmm. And since you don't have that background, it will end up causing you more, right? And storage space, like warehouse space, is precious, right? Now you have like 1,000 pieces worth of boxes storing there, like not going anywhere. Yeah. Even if you want to, like, oh, maybe somebody will buy it one day. When? Who? Mm-hmm. Right? So it's ultimately better just to cut that loss and just let it go. Yeah. So it wasn't because like thinking about, holy shit, that's a lot of waste, let me do something now. But more like, all right, that's interesting, let me see what we can do with this like new waste. So me and my partner Nico bought home a couple of pieces, made into like cross shoulder bag, handbags, and brought it back to the factory owner. And she was very happy to not only help us sew and sell it to us at their cost, which is higher than the garbage collector, but a lot lower than any designer could have got that garment, because it's really, first of all, it's at like 100,000 pieces unit price. Second, at cost, right? So for them, they just want to get rid of it, right? So yeah, that's how everything started. So then we realized there's so many people around us are doing like upcycle thing, and in the States, I know about upcycle when I first came to China like 7 years ago, right? But at that time, definitely, I don't see how you can really let that idea come across to Chinese locals. Mm-hmm. But since being in business for 2 years, more and more educated Chinese, returnees, like ABC, CBA, American-born Chinese, like other Western culture, born Chinese or born here, go there. Anyways, so that really drastically increased. And we started 2 years ago being like 80% foreigner buyers to now like 50-50. Yeah. Well, we are different because, like, if you see a lot of upcycle, recycle stuff in the States or Western, right? Because you not access to the factory. So what you have is very, like, reclaimed wood from old housing or get a garage sales.
Yeah.
So you can make, like, one piece. Whereas when we go to find new materials at the factories, since, like, 1 to 5% of everything produced is defective, so it's consistent because every day.
Yeah.
So I can make product that's actually mass produced, but just good for you anyways, right? So you have, like, jewelry made from defective watch parts. You have clutches made from misprinted packagings. Everything's colorful, like wallets made from recycled tires, right? So all of these material are enhanced to what the product is, instead of, like, oh, okay, I can just use this instead. It's really not. You know, like, have, like, waterproof clutches because it's, like, food grade packaging, and have, like, bullet shell jewelry, and it's, like, solid bronze. It's just really cool product, right? So I really want to show that, like, eco product doesn't mean it has to be green and brown and tasteless, right? Like, or neutral color. It can be very colorful, very funky. I don't have to target it into, like, oh, you know, buy this if you feel good. No, it looks great.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you still able to benefit something else, right? So that's why we also take, like, products from different social entities or NGOs that really makes a difference in another person's life, but not necessarily know how to market their own products.
Sure.
But they do have some great things that they make.
Yeah.
So since February, we start being the incubator, Chinaccelerator, till now. So we're entering with 2 people, come out with a team of 12. It's quite amazing of events.
There's been a lot going on in the last, let's say, 6 months, 7 months, right?
Before, when me and Nico had the shop, it's literally like every week something crazy because you're building a new business, right? You're learning as it goes.
Yeah.
And when you're in Accelerator, it's like every day, like, wait, is it still today? Because you just did so much stuff. And you kind of feel like nothing's getting done, but they are. So, yeah, you learn a lot from other teams. You learn a lot from yourself. At one point, I really feel like it's one of those, like, Japanimation animes, if you're familiar with it. It's literally like you can't do it anymore. You're like, no, this is my limit, right?
Yeah.
And then something happens, like, I power up, which I don't freaking know where that power coming from, and just recharge somehow and just keep on banging out work and just finding new ways to do something, right?
Well, you mentioned there a number of things that I want to touch on. The first is just to share a story, because the first time I met you, your initial shop for the Squirrelz was actually very close to, in the same, like, compound where I was working, right? And the first time I saw Bunny, there was this girl on her phone walking in the courtyard in a fleece onesie, and, like, with funky haircut. And I just looked out the window. I was like, you know, in China you get used to seeing odd things. So I wasn't that surprised, but I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know, and then you came in and we met each other and we started chatting, and you told me about what you were doing and we hit it off. But right before you were applying for Chinaccelerator, and we've interviewed some people, some grads from Chinaccelerator and some current batch members. And right before you were going to do it, you were like, oh, because I knew the gang, right? But and you had just been introduced to it. And you said, yeah, I'm going to pitch Chinaccelerator and stuff. And, like, of course I wanted to encourage you. But in my mind, I was like, I thought Chinaccelerator just did, like, tech stuff. And in my mind, you guys were a really cool little business, right? But I didn't know the totality of what you were doing and what your philosophy was. So I was like, okay, you know, good luck. I hope it works out.
Oh, the little train that could.
And then you come back, and then the next time I see you, you're like, oh, you know, actually, I think the next time I heard or saw about what you were doing was Geeks on a Train, and you were going to Beijing, and I was like, did you make it?
Holy shit,
did you make it into the batch? Holy shit. You got to tell me about this. So, and then, of course, I witnessed Demo Day, and that's when I got, like, the full download of your aspirations. And
how'd you like our pitch?
I thought it was fantastic. I really did. I thought
you.
a lot of the pitches that they were really good, actually. But yours was great. And what's cool about what you guys are doing is that I love when businesses pop up and services pop up and people are working on startups that, like, when they are described to you, you're like, oh yeah, that. Like, it's self-evident almost, but it wasn't until somebody told you about it, right? So the fact that you guys have aspirations too and have begun work, on the premise of, okay, factories make a lot of shit. They don't sell all of what they make. They throw away some of what they make. Some of it is waste, some of it's messed up, like you said. Why can't something be done with that? Yeah. From an environmental standpoint, but also from a creative, like, unique product standpoint.
And profitable point.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what we're doing is a double platform. So product platform is one. Second platform, to stash, is pretty much we source all these material that's getting sold out or getting sold with ridiculously cheap price, and we sell that directly to the designers or brands or industries, right? Because, like, they are... Again, great products. It's just like one man's trash, another man's treasure, right? Yeah. For that person, it's useless. All the corner for leather bags, right? But for another brand, that's exactly what the leather jewelry designer need. Smaller pieces to able to cut, right? Because we did meet a leather jewelry designer that you had to purchase like a whole sheet, right? Because if you ask factories, nobody would deal with you. You're too small.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm a platform, I can buy bulk and pretty much like a pre-sale kind of deal and able to break it down into smaller pieces and give to designers, right? So essentially I make a profit, they make a profit, and they will probably get better quality leather than what they can get their hands on as well.
That's what I mean by kind of saying it's a no-brainer, right? It's beneficial for the factories, it's beneficial for the designers, so they're not only getting maybe access to materials that they couldn't have gotten access to, or at least couldn't gotten access to at that price, but they're also, in the Squirrelz, gaining a platform that is being cultivated to promote the things that they make, right? So it's definitely beneficial for them, and of course for the Squirrelz, that's your business. That's the business you're running, so it's beneficial for you. So when I heard about it, I was like, man, that's a great concept. Now, of course, the execution of that concept is a lot of work. I know.
Very different than a good idea.
Sure.
Make that
But you don't always encounter those pitches and those ideas where you're like, oh, that's almost self-evident. You know, sometimes it's a bit of a stretch to see how things could work out. But I felt when you guys gave your pitch, like it was like, there's definitely something here. So let's bring it up to you gave your pitch on demo day. What's happened since then?
Well, since then, we opened our round at like 1 million, right? So, so far we closed our first part of the rolling round at a $250,000.
So let's deconstruct that just a bit, because I know it's a topic of interest for a lot of people. So when you say you opened the round, how did you go about structuring that, and how did you go about determining how much money you were trying to attract?
Well, all the way up to pretty much days before demo day, I have no freaking clue, right? Because all these things, like accelerator, they pushes you forward, right? But there's so much knowledge you kind of need to know, but you just don't have time to learn it, right? So you're like, kind of like, fuck it, go through with this first kind of mentality. So we do have really good advisors at CA and mentors. So in the beginning, they're the one who figure out our worth, right? So tell you the truth, right now I still don't really know exactly how to break down the exact calculation, right? I kind of have the gist, like why, but calculation part still need a bit of help. Well, that's why you need mentors for, right? So with our evaluation, and calculating throughout all the profit and finance, what I need for the next year and a half, right, to not struggle and not have to like worry about raising funds too quickly. We need about $1 million. So.
And then for the rolling aspect of that,
it's like you draw the term sheet, right? So you say like everybody who's coming in within whatever time period you set will go to the same term, right? But you can close piece by piece. You don't have to wait until everybody sign. You can go like, okay, so far I got 3 people, I just close this 3, right? But next 5, 7, whatever people will just follow the same term, right? So yeah, that we learn pretty much on the spot, right?
Is that done to just make sure you get a certain amount of money in the door so that you're not waiting for that million to close, because obviously you need that money.
Yeah.
But anyone that comes in as a part of that term sheet will be subject to the same terms.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Like as your company grows, of course your evaluation goes up too, right? So, but for a new startup, right? You start with 2 people, 4 people. So when you start fundraising, honestly, nothing gets done as in operations, right? Which means your business at a halt, right? Yeah. So, but when all the investors are looking at all these pretty numbers, right? You can't produce them because you don't have time to produce them, right? Because you too into drawing up that PPT for investment deck, giving numbers, projections. All of these is not business. They are how you can get funding for it, right? So sales, maintenance, operation, marketing, everything at halt. You can't move forward, right? So yeah, for me, rolling around makes sense because like when you start growing like a boom really quick, you need that initial funding to help you move forward. And maybe you cannot hold it for another 3 to 6 months until everything comes in first, because again, you need to start making profit, right? Yeah. So yeah, for me, our rolling round makes sense, and we did have a couple of initial people that come in with a nice chunk for us to able to run for a bit. So able to sustain a team to make it the business grow as well as keep on going with investing and business development. I don't know. I don't know that would be something I will suggest for everybody, but it's an option for you to do. But do not leave that term sheet like open for too long, right? Because like again, your evaluation would change, right? You leave it too long at the end, like maybe you did a huge sales and you give yourself too much time. Yeah. But it takes long to close somebody because you're chasing down numbers, and whoever's investing in you, they're busy, right? And especially you learn that when it comes to foreigner investors. July, August, nobody's freaking here, right? Starting from June, nobody's freaking here. Yeah. So that's 3 months window that you just waiting for them to come back from the vacation, right? Yeah. So there's nothing you can do.
That's a lot of time for you, right?
Yeah. They can't sign it until they come back, right? So for us, it was a little fortunate that they came back a little earlier. Right. But yeah, so summer is a unique time. I'm pretty sure like, Chinese New Year too.
Right. Now, obviously around the world today, there's like so many accelerator programs, right? I mean, there's a lot of graduates coming out of these programs, like thousands likely. So can you just share, you mentioned that, when you were doing the fundraising, it felt like, and maybe was the case, that not much was getting done on the business. Can you just shed some light on like what the process of fundraising was like how many people you had to pitch and how you went about doing it, and then any advice for people that are like going to be coming up in that position soon, how to go about it?
Well, all right, for us it's quite different because we've been at this for 2 years, right? So coming into Accelerator, we already have like 30 different vendors and like 500 different products. So and since you did say it, like we're not a tech company, right? We do have a platform, but we're not one app, right? Yeah. So one app, you just develop it, you can find marketer later, right? For us, we already had to maintain sales and maintain all these designers and make sure they're getting paid. So there's a huge operation behind it already we have to do because we've been doing it. So, but because of like the relationship we built up with our vendors, so they were so nice, able to like stuck us through, even though like we're like, okay, this month I just couldn't produce the numbers, can I just wire you everything 2 months? And they were just so understanding, like understand, go for it. So that gave us a little bit of break, right? And when it comes to investment, you have to do a pitch deck, all right, which is not the same thing as the investment deck. Pitch deck is mainly you talk through the pictures, so there's not a lot of writing on there, so it can make big pictures more dramatic, more memorable, right? The more words on your slide, the less people remember, because all you see just like lines of words. You're not going to remember.
Yeah.
And investment deck, however, is something you send out. So that's a lot of words. I mean, still bullet points, keep short, keep it to the point, right? But these are two very different animals. And then you have different pitch rules at different competitions. There's ones with different angles, right? So for us, like for the environmental ones, you might have to tweak up a little to add a couple of more, this kind of slide, that kind of slide, and pitch the VC. Again, you know, you got to talk their language, so to speak. And between that, you have to line up these people, right? You go through your mentors, you go through channels, you find people on LinkedIn. It's really, I don't know how all the other incubator or accelerator is, but to me, it's like they give you all these tools in front of you, right? But they kind of give you kind of a hint how to use them. But it's really up to you to see which one you pick up and use it, right? Because a lot of time you're just looking at this like, what does this thing do? So you just go like, all right, maybe not, right? But at the end, you're like, all right, like, and just pick it up and start, you know, playing around with it and see what it does. So that actually is exactly how it happened with a lot of things. Like one of our advisors that we have right now got introduced through the Chinaccelerator. In the beginning, I have no idea like why that person helping us and not getting paid, right? I have no concept. Like later on, like, you know, asking for percentages or whatever, right? I'm just like, do they want like some money? And I kind of got laughed at and like no, there's nothing you can pay them. It's worth their time. You can't afford that person, right? So then like you get confused. Then like, you know, if I cannot afford it, why are they here? Then you're like, oh, so for them, it's their investment, invest their time to go behind something that can build bigger, right? So they can stay on board or something, right? So a good advisor stay with you, shoot you like links and like give a crap, right? And yeah, luckily we got one of those that's like very, very attentive, and have another one too, also very attentive.
Yeah.
So quite lucky on that end.
So how many formal pitches did you have to give to VCs or angels or anything like that in this funding round?
It's different. Like after demo day, I didn't really have to do a pitch, right? So you talk to a person who you've been, you know, kind of start building relationship with like throughout the whole program, and you kind of, you know, let them know like, you know, we are raising now, right? And they all usually pretty open to go, oh, let me see your pitch deck, right? What's your term sheet look like, you know? So a couple of them, like, you're like, oh, I thought they were just friends in the beginning, just watching over things. No, they're waiting for you to freaking see how valuable you can be, right? So you're just like, all right, okay. Was very naive, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, so at the end, like, we had people go like, okay, so could you send over your investment deck? We've seen you in the beginning when you first enter CA. I'm like, you have?
You've been spying on me.
He's like, yeah, I like, see you guys grow and how, you know, team develop or whatever. So now, you know, interested looking at your numbers. I'm like, oh, so that's why you guys come around and stuff. Like, you know, I just thought you guys like to hang out next to the beers. So yeah.
Right. So you, after the demo day pitch, that's mostly what happened. You didn't like, because we speak with some people before, and you know, they hit the quote-unquote pitch circuit really hard, and they'll give like 30, 40, 50 pitches to all sorts of VCs trying to get money. But it seems like you guys were fortunate enough to be able to kind of go a different way.
One by one. Yeah. I mean, we pitched at some event, but really wasn't like you say, like, you know, hardcore, like roadshow, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty much like all the connection we had before. We just continue talking and getting a couple of more links and just meet up.
Yeah.
And usually the first meetup, oh my God, I got bit by a mosquito out here. Holy crisis. Yeah, usually you just have a nice talk with them and send over your investment deck so they can think about it, right? And then you have a second meeting. You either know it's yay or nay already, right? So yes, we got yays, and we do already have some nays because we are quite small.
Yeah.
Right. So, which is kind of cool because like a couple of them that are bigger VCs, just really interesting what we're doing, but they just don't invest such a small round,
Right.
and they want to wait it out.
Sure.
So, which made it very nice for our next round opening. Already have a couple of potentials. It's already gonna watch you grow and really care what you're doing.
Yep.
I am looking only the investor that care about, of course, the money, but also care about what we do.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones who can ultimately help you later,
Yeah.
right? Or else we just add stress. Because then just like, okay, what's your number like?
Sure.
Right? And it will be very not, like, boring and just not fun talking to somebody like that.
Yeah.
For me, it's like same thing with like hiring. I don't care how talented you are. I need to at least like you to be on my team, right? Able to hang with the person 21st, like the long term, especially like, build up in the beginning, just you're in the office like all the time.
Yeah.
These are the people you see the most, right? Every day. So yeah, you need to like the person.
Sure.
So
Well, it's one of the things that often gets talked about, especially in people in your position, is that a lot of people will need money so badly that they'll go for the first money that gets in, right? And like you were just saying, you were looking for investors that were going to give a shit about what you guys do, because it is not just a dollars and cents business. There's obviously a strong social component, social impact component to what you guys do. And that's how it started, right? So, and I think a lot of people get in trouble if they just go for the money rather than waiting for an investor that's going to really be like a long-term partner that kind of believes in the vision. And
I'm nodding my head right now, just for all of you cannot see.
But you mentioned competitions, right? You mentioned that one of the ways that you can prospect for investors is like go to competitions, and maybe you can pick up some reward money, or maybe you can meet certain investors.
Yeah.
And it just popped into my mind. I don't want to glaze over this because you ended up being, within spitting range of Barack Obama, President Obama, on one of these pursuits.
That would be
right?
quite a loogie, but yes.
So could you tell us a little bit about that? Because that's a pretty unique experience to be up in the White House with the big man.
Yeah.
As a part of a group of
that wasn't
successful
even on my
entrepreneurs.
bucket list, but now I can cross it off. I'm gonna write it on, then cross it off. So I guess we started pitching last year, maybe June, July-ish, like around the same time. And it wasn't like hardcore, just like one here, one there. So come to January, we pitched an event called the Challenge Cup by 1776. So that's like a global one. So one of their chapter is Beijing, right? So we really got into that one at the end, and we kind of got invited in a way because like I didn't know about it until somebody said you should really get in like now. I'm like funding wise, I'm like right now we got our shop and the money is good, like maintain. I don't know if I want to spend like extra money just like go all the way to Beijing and just do a pitch that I'm not sure of. Then I don't know what struck. It just like, you know what, well, let's do it. I don't have anything to lose, right?
Yeah.
We went and we won, and one of the judges, William Baobing, which CA. So that's how we got picked to go to CA.
CA is Chinaccelerator.
Chinaccelerator. Sorry. Chinaccelerator. Just long, right? CA. So because that event, and that was like pre-Chinaccelerator, we won the China chapter for the global competition. So now then we headed to Washington D.C. for the final. And because this incubator 1776 is so connected, right? Government connected. So I guess we got into their watch list for entrepreneurs. So it's not the same event, but then you get a letter from the White House, like email, and saying you officially got invited to the emerging entrepreneurs event at the White House. Just like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, is that a scam? Like, there's a link there, you gotta click, right? So then, like, you send the email to 1776. Hey, like, you guys from the DC area, is that real? Because there's a little logo on top with the White House, but you can just make one, right? I don't want to click on anything.
You wonder if it's some like Nigerian email campaign.
Yeah. do you want $1 million dollars, right? And then they're like, no, that's from the White House email, right? I'm like, well, I don't really know how they should make it look more official, because it's not like, you can make a hologram stamp in the in the email. But I'm like, all right, cool. So yeah, I got invited to the White House. There are only 74 teams in the whole world that got invited. 2 from China, and both from CA graduates.
Oh really? What was the other one?
Cedar. Okay. Batch.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
6, 5.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Alex, I didn't remember. It was 5 or 6. Yeah. So was very cool. And in the beginning, you get something silly I did. So they ask you to send in a picture, right? So for the for going to the White House, because you gotta register and whatever, your bio and your passport and everything else. Mm-hmm. So in my head, going like, all right, so picture is for security. So I literally just give my picture of the visa run. Almost nobody looked good on their visa picture. Right. So
it's
apparently,
like a passport photo.
Yeah, but that picture was used on description, bio for your company that gets sent out to all the other entrepreneur companies go there.
Like their professional LinkedIn photo there, and you're there not smiling, playing background.
Yes. And that day I was just wearing a red top, right? It's oriental cheap out top. So that's the most Chinese-y picture ever of me, right? So I'm like, yeah, of course the person's from China. It's just so obvious. I was like, great. Nobody
this is
gonna
how the president's gonna see me.
Yeah. I'm like, not gonna even freaking remember who I am, right? Yeah, so that was really funny. But so many great teams though, reading everybody's bio. There's was it drone technology? There's how to convert your car into a hybrid, a regular car, a kit. There's so many cool projects. So yeah, did my research of who I want to talk to, meet them, and but everybody's just like you, around the same, almost around the same age group, late 20s, early 30s, right?
Yeah.
And kind of not everybody got everything together, Everybody's kind of all right, great, got invited, but still don't know this, don't know that.
Right.
So there's no any kind of air of arrogance in that at all. But at the event there is the whole the judging panel from Shark Tank. So Mark Cuban,
right.
Barbara, Dwayne John. Yeah, you just wow, people from Shark Tank. They look a lot bigger in real life than on TV and stuff. Then of course everybody want to at least let them know about your company, right? Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden the shark are the bait now. So you see all the entrepreneur just going around them who are the sharks now, right? So I got in there couple of lines. I know they're not gonna remember.
You had a photo with Cuban, right? Did I see that?
I had photo with Cuban and Barbara, and background with Barack.
I saw that.
Barry
You're
himself.
Pretty close, 10, 20 feet away, right?
3 rows in.
Yeah. Pretty darn close.
I didn't really want to be in the front row, just in case you get, doing something embarrassing and got, shot in the middle, because it was a live feed, right? Because I know I'm going to do something selfie at the row with him in the background. Yeah. I think that would look kind of not nice if I'm in the front row be doing that. I don't know what's the rules, right? Yeah. But yeah, there's so many cameras. Soon as Barack about to come in, we just full. The background just all cameras.
Was he as suave and cool in person as
Definitely.
He comes off on the TV and media?
Yeah. Voice is exactly the same.
Sexy ass voice.
Sexy Barack voice.
Hello.
That's type of image you want somebody who's in charge to exude, right?
Yeah.
Somebody.
Sure.
It doesn't matter what he say, but at the moment he say it, it sounds
Yeah. That's probably good reason why he's president.
Yeah. Well, there's other presidents that I cannot agree with that their president image is as strong, right?
True. No, I think he's probably one of the best ever. I mean, he's so damn well-spoken and smooth.
Very, very smooth-spoken.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's on the prompter or whatever, but just the fact that he actually do pronounce everybody's name right. Because, like, there's, like, Mexican team, whatever. There's a couple of teams that they got invited to be on the panel. But, yeah, not easy names. And I don't even care if he's writing his own speeches. I doubt he'll have time.
Yeah.
But whoever wrote the speech matched him perfectly.
Yeah.
So good on you, ghostwriter.
But one of the things you mentioned a few minutes ago, I mean, it's an awesome experience for sure. I mean, it's
so
really,
cool.
really cool. But you said that when you got there and you met all these amazing teams, and these are like champions, right? They won their respective competitions in their respective
You mean
countries.
1776 or the White House event? Because it's two different things.
I think the White House event.
White House event is not
No.
champions.
Okay, so
it's just picking up teams.
Okay, so 1776, right? So you and another team were the winners from China, right?
Yeah.
And then they collected all these winners from around the world. So you mentioned that, like, when you saw them and you met them, you were like, oh, these people.
Those are the ones from
the White House.
From the White House.
Okay.
Yes.
But they're all entrepreneurial teams, right? And presumably they're doing all right if they made it to the White House on that particular occasion.
Yeah.
So my point is that I feel like a lot of times, the whole startup thing is like, obviously it's very trendy right now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of romanticizing about it, and you hear about, so-and-so's friend or whatever raised X number of dollars, and that's all you hear in the tech news, like so-and-so raised this and so-and-so IPO and blah, 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 blah. And I think...
Made it sound so easy, right?
Yeah, but also I think it can make it seem like the people that are doing it are like superhuman, right? Like if you're someone on the outside that, wants to be an entrepreneur, wants to change the world in some way, wants to act on an idea you might have or a passion, inspiration, but you look at all these people from the outside and you think, damn, I'm not one of them. Like they're kicking ass. They're running companies. They're raising money. They're schmoozing with so-and-so. They're in the White House doing, with the president. But from my experience doing this, and I'd like to get your take on it next, but it's, in fact, there's some really great people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not shitting on anybody. But but the reality is, it's people that just decided they were going to dive in head first, and they were going to give it their all and figure it out as they go, as and when they need to. A lot of the time,
it's really like
right?
that. It's really like figure out as it goes.
So I feel like people shouldn't be discouraged if they don't know, like, oh no, I can't be an entrepreneur yet, or I can't do a startup yet because I don't know how to fundraise, and I don't know how to do this, and I don't know how to do that. It seems to boil down to the attitude, right? Like if you decide that this is something that's worthwhile enough for you, that if you're in close enough alignment with what do you want to be doing, then it really seems to boil down to, okay, I'm either going to do it or not, right? Like 1 or 0. And then you go for it and you learn along the way, right? Like you didn't know about term sheets when I first met you, right?
What
you may not even know what
sheet?
that was. And here you are having closed a certain amount of funding already. So I think it's important to kind of lift the veil a bit for people that might be listening, because it does seem a bit like these startup people are like superhuman sometimes, and I think it's good to humanize them a bit and have everyone realize that it's not so much about like inherent, inborn, amazing, superhuman talent. It's about that drive and that hard work and that willingness to adapt and learn and grow as you go.
For me, it's like that, right? If you think, okay, I don't know how to fundraise, it's probably too hard for me, then you're right.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
probably too hard for you. You don't have it, right? But it's pretty much like if you work all your life, 9-to-5 job, whatever job, right? If you're okay with that, if that something makes you happy, great. If you keep on thinking there's something missing, right, and you want to have something that's on your own, but just remember, if you fail, you can still go find a job.
Yeah.
It's really not the end of the world, right? So if you fail, you lose some money, guess what? You can make it back, right? You done this, you're dive in, you figure out how, right? And a lot of people are scared. I can see why, or else it's just not gonna be. Even though it seems like there's so many entrepreneurs everywhere, but ratio-wise still low, right? Yeah. So we need followers, we need leaders, right? And it just depends on, at the end of the day, what makes you happy. Mm-hmm. So you do a startup in the beginning, you don't sleep, you stressed out, right? There's no funding. You gotta find creative way to make ends meet in the beginning, right? You share apartments. Ramen noodles, your gourmet choice of meal. Yeah. But is that happiness at the end worth it for you, right? Yes, or even during, right? Even during. Even if you're eating ketchup and rice, which is the stereotypical startup story, are you, when you get up and go to work, are you at least more satisfied, more engaged than you were when you were walking into that gray office every day and doing whatever, right? Oh my God, before going to work, even though I'm still doing design, whatever, something I like, it's still going to work. Yeah. Right. So now it's 6 o'clock in the morning, you can't sleep, and you're going freak, I have so much shit to do. You know what? Fuck it. Get up. Might as well just go to work. Yeah. Nobody's pushing you. You are pushing you, right? It's different kind of stress. Mm-hmm. It's not like somebody needs to beat it into you. You're just looking at the clock. You're going I want to go home now. It's going the clock is going too fast. I need a couple of more hours. Let me just I just need to finish that proposal just before the time is up. I am tired, but I need that shit to get done. Yeah. It's pressure you give to yourself. Mm-hmm. But when you look at it, it's going through all the tears, all the sweat. If there's blood, holy shit, I don't know what you're doing. and you go at the end, bottom of your heart, you're happy. Mm-hmm. This is what you want. This is what you want to see grow. Yeah. Right.
So can we delve a little bit into what you just referenced, where
the blood, the tears,
the stress, the tears, the potential blood, but because you are right, because it again, on the whole romanticized line of things, everyone hears the ramen noodle stories, and we live in an apartment, and we had on. David Chen from Strikingly before. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that company. But they do landing pages. Oh. Right? And they were a Y Combinator batch participant and graduate. Oh, okay. And, because when you hear that story, it's always a great story. It's not, it's usually, 3-2 an apartment, ketchup and rice, and then we launched and we got accelerator and we got funding.
Well, that's because you only interview people who made it,
right?
So
I'm not saying me. I'm saying this is the story you get. This is the narrative you get out there. You don't hear went into the apartment with four people, ate ketchup and rice, and we fucked up. Yeah. And now we're back at our old jobs.
There's more of those.
Right.
So yes, it's a lot of dangers.
And my point of bringing that up is that is always next to you. That is always in your mind as a possibility, right? Of course, things can go well, things can not go well. So I'm always interested in asking guests, how do you deal with the uncertainty and the stress? And I'm going to leave that open for you. You can use nuts and bolts stuff like meditation or yoga, or you can just say it's a passion thing. But
yoga, so don't do it for me. I did try.
But you know what I mean? It is a huge component of the startup life, the entrepreneurial life in general, but certainly in startups where things are moving so fast, there's so much pressure on. It's how do you cope with that? We talked about it a little bit before we started today, but how do you cope?
Still coping. Because, at one point you're so busy you just can't think, right? You just work through. Your stress, you do cry. I have. But, yourself has to be your own life coach, right, in the beginning. So it's there's one line from the movie Van Wilder I always think about. It's worry is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it don't go anywhere, right? Yeah. So you kind of just focus your worry energy onto, okay, so if this happened, how do I solve it? All right. So now, okay, say the funding don't come in, right? So if the funding don't come in, how are you solving it, right? So sometimes, giving up might be one of the strategies, right? So if you're doing something, it's not going anywhere. Your heart saying, I want to do this, right? But logically, and I do like advise everybody to talk to more than your own self on some of the like bigger decisions.
Sure.
And preferably not only just friends, should be some, you know, not complete strangers, but somebody don't know you that well, so they're not attached to your project either or attached to you.
Yep.
There are times you would just go like, you know what, I put in, I don't know, it could be even 2 years of sweat. It's not going anywhere. It's burning a hole, right? So is it the right time for me to stop? There's no right answer to that.
Yeah.
There are ones who, you know, power drive through and got through it, and there's one that continued 2 more years. They should have stopped 2 years ago. But balance-wise, I guess, well, we're still in a very busy stage, right?
So there's not much balance.
There isn't.
Yeah.
But it's already getting to a point that now, when would you ever do stuff for you? This is your own project, yes. Yeah. But at the end, it's a project, right? You yourself still need kind of your time.
Sure.
Right? Be that your time might be exactly the same thing. More power to you. That's great. But I'm pretty sure there's other life stuff that you want to do for you that you're putting on hold.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess just... The thing is, like, it does pile up, right? So, and the more you think about it, it's like, I didn't do this for myself, but I can't think about it right now because I don't have time. I have to do this. So, yeah, nobody has time, right? Yeah. And then when you say you don't have time, it's mainly like you're seeing which is priority for you, right? Technically, everything is like, oh, have to do this now. I don't have time. This is a must go. Yeah. No, you are the one who said it to be must go, right? If you want to stop, you can just stop. Nobody's like, you know, it's like I have to go to work. No, in your mind, you need to go to work, right? That's what you want to because you want that paycheck, right? You don't have to go to work, right? So now I am kind of at that stage going like, okay, everything's kind of on the track of going. Team is working better together. We're able to bank out, you know, progress as well as like all the investment stuff. And now should I start like continue to work myself into a hole, which there's just it's never ending amount of work, right? You're always late.
Sure.
You're never on time.
Sure.
Or start digging out a little bit of you time, and how much of you time you need to dig out, right? I
feel like this is an extremely common theme with founders, you know, because again, the nature of the type of life that you guys have, you know, gotten yourselves into is that it's so fast paced and so busy, and so, you know. And I've heard this story so many times and had these conversations where founders are just and team members and CEOs, they struggle to find that balance because, like you said, there's always more things to do, and you implicitly make that decision that those are the priorities and not your health or your happiness or whatever. So and it's. I mean, I don't know if there's a singular answer to that question. Like, how do you make that decision?
There's no right answer.
As far as the conversations I've had, it's just that, you know what, at a certain point, you're probably forced to just fit something in that lets you recharge the batteries a bit, or gives you a little bit of time away, or gives you a little bit of stress relief. And I'm really interested in learning what those different methods are. So, for example, we had a guest on before that said, every so often, I need to go outside the city. I need to be in nature, like once every 2 weeks for a night, the overnight in Moganshan or something like that, where I can just unplug, disconnect, like recenter, and get my mojo back. And other people, you know, it is
like me who can't stand nature. It's not that I can't stand nature, but just like every time I go, I just get bit by mosquitoes and bugs.
Well, then that's not going to do it for you, right?
That stressed me more.
Maybe a spa, maybe a Korean spa with hot tubs and stuff. Who knows? But I find it really interesting because I feel like the companies that are successful, the entrepreneurs that are successful, find a way
to balance,
to do that. Maybe not balance, you know, but find a way to like.
It's a balance within chaos, right? It's kind of your balance.
Yeah,
you know?
But find something that allows them to keep going. Like keep going optimally, right? Like, so they don't just, like you said, dig a hole and burn themselves out. Where they're able to like really kick ass all the time, but because they've squeezed this in, and some founders, have families and stuff like that, and they have to make that time. So I think startups are generally skew towards younger people a lot of the time because, there's fewer obligations and you can give that time, but maybe it gets forgotten along the way that you actually have to figure out a way to not burn yourself out, because at the end of the day, it's not good for you, but it's also not good for the company. And now that you've got employees under you and you're responsible for their well-being, that's got to weigh heavily as well. Yeah,
being a CEO role, like I seen it before, because people you meet, whoever, and just like, oh my God, their life is just all on phones, on emails, on meetings, right? And that's what they do. Yeah. That does not really scare me, honestly. I do find that quite interesting. Like organize everything, like little by little. It's even though that's not what I study and that's not what I have done, but it's quite interesting. But I am from the design background, right? So there are times just like I kind of want to create something by hand. I kind of want to draw something. I kind of want to build something else. But right now, it's just not that part yet. The part right now, you just need to make everybody do what they need to do first. Yeah. Before you can, I don't know, every now and then micromanage something. Right. Right now, it's more about bold. Like, okay, you are this position. Like, police in charge. Right. We can fine tune the things later, but bang out the big picture first. Sure. So, and it's really cool that my co-founder is kind of not complete opposite, right? But he's more into details, right? So me and him, one be like, no, this thing gotta be like A, B, C, D. I'm like, no. Just give me the D really quick right now, and we can build the A, B, C later. Because right now I need the D for something else, right? So both of us balance each other out on that sense quite well. Yeah. So, yeah, for me, with all the meetings, whatever, at the end, I'm just really computer screen, iPad screen, phone screen, reading, meetings. Yeah. So this is one of them, right? And hopefully one of the more enjoyable ones. Yes, it is. Definitely it is. But throughout this process, I feel like when you're, because this is probably more responsibility than you've ever had on your shoulders before. Do you find that, it may be hard to step back and assess this a lot because you are so busy, but just in terms of personal development, maturity, and just growing as a person as a result of this experience, can you comment on that? I'm sure it's been pretty dramatic and pretty quick, right? You learn that you can push yourself a lot further than you thought, right? First of all. Then, I don't know, like, before, when I'm doing design, right, it's something like I can do, right? Of course, the challenges, whatever. But at the end, I never felt that I put in 100% on something, right? Because, like, if you do in a way, right? Yeah. So you finish that project and everybody's happy, so it's done, right? You don't have to do that sprint, right? You kind of just run. With this, it's like, all right, so you're sprinting, but still not fast enough, right? You got to find new ways to just push yourself even over another hurdle that you go like, what? But I just learned how to walk. You want me to jump over the river, right? Then, all right, that's a fine way to jump over the river. It's not like, okay, let me just stop here. But for me, it's like that. And now getting to the, CEO position when you have to just manage everybody and like get the whole gear going, it's like you're finding, I guess, new powers. So, the talents that you might not think you have, the more logical end. And if you're the more logical end, maybe you find talent that you have more in the design end as well. Because right now you kind of have to dig your hand into everybody's honeypot, right? And you learn from everybody as well. I think that's the only reason, only way for the better CEO to grow. You need to know a little bit about everybody's doing, right? Absolutely. You don't have to literally find out the nitty-gritty of exactly how it's done, but the basic principle and how everything works, you need to know. I agree. And I think everything you do in life, you learn, and as a result, you grow. And I think just because of the amount of doing that's involved in a startup, it accelerates the amount of growing just as like a byproduct, right? And you get surprised, like, how for me, like, I crave all the knowledge. It's just very interesting to know them. And the amount you can obtain. Like, I found a new skill. Because before, I'm always, like, good at multitasking, right? So I figure now that we have more things I got to do, I pretty much have to, like, put some on the back burner and put some over. So in your head, it's not a mess.
Yeah.
But now I'm actually just adding more channels in my head that I can delegate, which is not a good thing because it made it a lot harder when you're trying to calm yourself down because all the channels on now, right? Because it's like one thing that like simultaneously just like, okay, you guys, all the voices need to shut up one so I can do something else.
I know about that. Tell me.
So that's when the whole finding your own thing balance come in, right? So I guess like right now it's something I want to try to start doing, starting from something small. I'm just gonna pick something I want to do, but like on a smaller scale, like less time scale to start doing it. I don't know if it backfires or not, because like essentially that becomes another task.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
I don't know how it's gonna work. I guess like you guys can find out later on if that actually work or not. But yeah, you just gotta try shit. Like, that might not work. That calm myself down way might not work. Yeah. But it might work great. But, so
yeah, and then you'll know.
We'll not know until you find it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But speaking of doing, I know you have a shitload of stuff you need to do.
Yeah.
And darkness is falling on us here on the patio. So.
But the lights will come on really quick. It'll look very pretty.
Those mood lights. So we'll wrap it up. But before we go, Bunny, I wanted to ask, and I asked most of my guests this question, if you could give the listener, like let's say the listener is a young entrepreneur, not dissimilar from yourself a couple of years ago, 3 pieces of advice. Could be anything. Could be get your vitamins. It could be, get drunk at least once a week. Whatever it is, 3 pieces of advice to just help them on their way, help them perform better at what they're doing and what they want to do.
Okay.
One more piece of detail. It could be like, use Slack for project management. Like just anything that could make their life easier, make their chances for success better. One
is whatever sentence you're focusing on. If you're going in your head like, oh, don't fail, right? Instead of going like, okay, I can do this, right? You probably would get the exact result that you are looking for.
Right.
So if you think don't fail, you probably will fail because that's what you're focusing on, failing, right? But if you're focusing on, okay, I'm going to win, and that is what you're going to focusing on. I mean, of course, tactic had to come with it too, but it's really how you channel yourself. It's not like an energy thing. It's just like if you keep on telling yourself and worry about failing, you're going to be scared on a lot of stuff, right? Yeah. Second one, has always been like glass half full kind of deal.
Sure.
For me, it's like even if you don't have any water in your glass, you still got the glass. You need to find that silver lining, right?
Sure.
So when you're in that room, cramped, eating ketchup and with no rice, right? Because that's the only thing that's free, right?
Yeah.
You tell yourself like, this is something that's great that you're doing, right? Yes, it's hard. Nobody ever said it's going to be easy, right? But you choose this because it meant something, right? It meant that you're not stuck in a job, even though it's like stable pay, but there's no meaning to it. You're just doing manual things that you can do. Yeah. This is something like life is about challenge, right? So,
and I know it's a cliche, but the grass is always greener on the other side. And I was reading just today, someone's quote was, and it was about this, like, glass half full type of attitude. And it was, I could have been born in a Sudanese refugee camp or, something like that. When you say like, things are tough, but it could always be worse. And
see, that's a funny thing.
I think it's good to have that gratitude, right?
My last advice is actually don't compare yourself with another person, right? Because like,
well, that's not a comparison to another person. That's just saying
it's
like
a scenario. Yeah, I know. It could have been worse. Yes.
It's focusing on the positive side of things, right?
So for me, it's like don't think about but that person's already raised $1 million.
Right.
Like don't think about that person who raised $1 million. Now, if you want to find out how they did it, you can find out strategy or whatever. Learn from the person. But at the end, you're doing this for you. You're not doing this to just compete, right? Unless that is your goal. Then like every single advice, of course, is like you take it as it goes, right? But for me, it's really is like if this is something you're doing for you, right? Don't care about how somebody else can look at it and didn't see numbers, right? Don't care how about like, oh, my other team is doing like, twice as much. No, focus on how you can bring it further, and how you can make yourself happier ultimately, right? Why this business is something that you choose to lose sleep and, go days without eating for. Yeah. Is it worth it for you?
That's great advice.
Right?
That's great advice. And let's finish it there. So, Bunny, thank you very much for coming on today. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. And it's always fun to come by the Squirrelz and see how you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Where can people get in touch with you? URL, emails, or anything you want to put out there?
Yeah, so it's www.squirrelz.com with a Z. And my email is bunny@thesquirrelz.com. It's quite easy. Cool. And if you just check Upcycle Design or somewhere
and you guys are on
close to spell
Twitter
Squirrel.
Too, right?
Twitter, Instagram,
all that stuff.
LinkedIn.
Just
you need
search
to be
it, you'll
freaking
find
everywhere,
it.
right? And if you're a designer who's making upcycle product, recycle, or know somebody who's doing something for charitable work or social, love to hear from them and put on the platform. And collaborations, always looking for that too. Or just if you want to chat or find out more,
just come by the patio and hang out.
Yeah, it's true. The people already start doing that stuff. We exercise out here. It's really nice. Oh, yeah. Do balance your exercise, because with all the junk food and not sleeping, you could fuck up your health quite bad. Do put that as your priority, because you need your health to keep on going. Or else you can't make it.
I couldn't agree more. That's I think that's great advice.
So fourth. So
a bonus.
Sorry.
Cool. Well, thanks again, Bunny. And everyone, for us, you can access us at techinShanghai.com or Twitter /TechInShanghai. And I actually gave the wrong YouTube URL last time. For our YouTube channel, it's just go to YouTube and type in Tech in Shanghai, and you'll find our channel there. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Tech in Shanghai podcast. If you enjoyed the show, subscribe to us on iTunes and follow us on Twitter @Tech in Shanghai for everything tech from Shanghai and China. See you next time.